Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. We are starting a new, longer fanfiction today. This one I'm going to record it, I think, in 5 parts, each piece having 2 chapters. This one is 10 chapters long and it's about 8,500 words. This one is a soul animal fic, so kind of like soul marks, but with animals instead. It is called Where the Soul Leads. It is written by me, Beauty and the Bookshelf. It is for the My Hero Academia fandom, and the relationship in here is Bakugo's Katsuki and Kirishima Adro. There are a lot of characters in this fic. Some of them are just like mentioned, but there are quite a few. Bakugo Katsuki, Kirishima Adro, Recovery Girl, Kaminari Denki, Asuisuyu, Uraraka Ochako, Midoriya Izuku, Yaoyorozu Momo, Ida Tenya, Todoroki Shoto, Ashido Mina, Saruhanta, 13, Vlad King, and Eraserhead. Some of the tags for this one are soulmates, alternate universe soulmates, canon compliant mostly, soul animals, soul bond, canon rewrite, domestic, slow burn, hurt comfort, emotional hurt comfort, minor original characters, fluff, marriage proposal, marriage, family, parenthood, established relationship, Bakugo Katsuki is bad at feelings, protective Bakugo Katsuki, sharing a bed, soft Bakugo Katsuki, soft Bakugo Katsuki and Kirishima Adro. Kirishima Adro is a good friend. Kirishima Adro is a ray of sunshine. All right, here's the summary. In this world, every person has a soul animal, a silent, invisible creature that appears shortly after birth and stays by their side for life. The soul animal represents your soulmate, not necessarily who they are physically, but who they are at their core, their essence, as only your soul can perceive it. You grow up with this creature as your constant companion, unseen by others. It doesn't eat, it doesn't age, it doesn't make noise. Only you can see it or feel it, like a private echo of someone you haven't met yet. But when you finally do meet your soulmate, when the bond clicks into place, everything changes. For the first time, you can see their soul animal, and they can see yours. That's how you know the one you've been carrying in your heart is standing right in front of you. So I wrote a little note on this one that I read When Your Soul Animal Comes Around by Always Fanfiction a long time ago, and I thought the idea of soul animals instead of soul marks was really cute. And I don't think I've read any other ones where soul animals have been in there. I'm sure there's some out there. So I didn't really like become inspired by that fan fiction per se. I liked the idea and it kind of encouraged me to write my own, but that was really the only idea that I took from that, just like soul animals instead of soul marks. But I really do encourage you to read that one if you think soul animal fics are cute, or if you read this one and you like it. Like I said, When Your Soul Animal Comes Around by Always Fanfiction on AO3. So now to my fic. Where the Soul Leads by Beauty and the Bookshelf. Chapter 1, Where It All Begins. Bakugo Katsuki had never known life without the dog. It had been there as long as he could remember, curled up beside his crib, padding soundlessly after him through the house, lying in the corner during naps like a shadow. He didn't know when it had first appeared. No one remembered the exact moment. His mom said shortly after he was born, like everyone else's. At first, it hadn't mattered. Everyone had one. It didn't make noise. It didn't eat. It didn't age. It didn't do anything. It just was. But by the time Katsuki was 5, he started to hate the way it looked at him. Its eyes were too soft, its tail always wagging. It followed him from room to room like it had nowhere better to be, like he was something worth staying near. It was red, too bright, dumb, attention-grabbing red. He threw a pillow at it once, just to see what it would do. It blinked, wagged its tail, and sat back down, watching. He told his mom it was stupid. She laughed and said, "Then your soulmate must think you're pretty great. Be nice to the dog, Katsuki." He didn't like that answer either. In another town, Kirishima Eijiro sat on his bedroom floor, turning pages of a picture book with one hand, while the other rested beside a small, spiky lizard stretched out in a sunbeam on his carpet. It had always been with him, perched on his shoulder, curled against the collar of his hoodie, blinking slowly from the edge of his pillow while he talked himself to sleep. He used to think it was a dragon, something strong, something ancient. It didn't roar or fly or breathe fire, but it didn't need to. It just stared out at the world with calm, unflinching eyes. He didn't know what it meant at first, but one day his teacher explained it. Your soul animal isn't a pet, it's a mirror, not of you, but of the person your soul is tethered to. After that, he started looking at it differently. Maybe the person who sent him this lizard was someone brave, someone cool, someone who knew how to stay still and steady when things got hard. Maybe they were out there somewhere already fighting through their own battles. And maybe someday, if he worked hard enough, he'd be someone strong enough to meet them. Time passes. Bakugo Katsuki sat cross-legged on his bedroom floor, notebook in one hand, pen tapping against his lip. His fingers were faintly singed, and the air smelled like burnt ozone, but the windows were cracked open just enough to keep the smoke detector from going off. Again. He'd been timing his blast, testing control, precision, cooldown time, keeping it small but manageable, just enough to feel the heat beneath his skin and know he was getting stronger. His mom would lose her mind if she caught him doing it again. But he couldn't sit still, not when UA was less than a year away. The red dog lay in the corner of the room, silent and watching. It didn't move when he swore under his breath. It didn't react when the sparks fizzled out early. It just stared at him with the same patient, stupid loyalty it always had, like it knew something he didn't. He didn't need anyone else. He never had. But in the quiet moments after training, when his wrists ached and his breath was ragged, the dog's warm presence settled something in his chest. A small, stubborn hope that maybe someone out there saw more than just the angry kid yelling and exploding his way through life. Kirishima Eijiro ran his fingers over the rough scales of the lizard perched on his shoulder like a loyal companion. The little creature had grown with him, a quiet reminder of the strength he wanted to build, not just in his quirk, but in himself. Middle school was harder than he expected. Everyone seemed so much more confident, their quirks sharper, their goals clearer. Kirishima still struggled to believe he was enough, to shake the words he'd heard when he was younger. Pathetic. But the lizard never wavered. The lizard never demanded more than he could give. He never looked away when Kirishima stumbled. Sometimes, when the weight of doubt pressed too heavy, Kirishima would whisper his fears to the lizard, tracing the spikes on its back and imagining the same resilience growing inside of him. He didn't have to be perfect. He just had to keep trying. Because maybe, someday, the person who shared his soul tether was out there somewhere doing the same thing, carrying their own doubts and hopes with their own silent guardian waiting to be seen. Chapter 2. Red Hair is Canon? Kirishima was doing his best to act like he belonged here. He'd been shocked he made it into UA, and his hands were still sore from gripping the straps of his bag too tight the whole train ride in. He kept his head up, shoulders back, like he'd practiced in the mirror that morning, confident, manly, totally not terrified. He was scanning the classroom when he saw it. Kirishima didn't expect to see a dog, especially not one like this one. It was big, with a soft-looking coat, and bright red, the exact same shade as his hair. He'd spent hours debating in the mirror, wondering if it was too bold, too loud, too much. But now there it was, in dog form, trotting into Class 1A beside a blonde kid with a scowl sharp enough to cut glass. And the weirdest part, no one else was looking at it. No double takes, no comments, not even a flicker of surprise. Kirishima stared. The dog sat by the kid's desk like it belonged there, like it had followed him to school every day for years. He leaned over and whispered, "Is that a support dog or something?" The girl beside him gave him a weird look. "What are you talking about?" Kirishima looked back at the dog. It was still there, still red, staring directly at him. His stomach dropped. No way. That wasn't just a dog. That was a soul animal. And he was seeing it, which meant, oh no. He didn't even know this guy. He hadn't said a single word to him. And somehow, without knowing him at all, Kirishima was staring at the person he was meant to be with. Kirishima sat back slowly, mind racing. This was definitely not how he expected his first day to start. Kirishima had been watching him all morning. He hadn't meant to stare, but how could he not? The color felt too specific to be coincidence. He finally worked up the nerve when it was time to break for lunch. Bakugo was alone, leaning against a wall near the training fields. The dog was sitting at his feet, alert but relaxed, like it had been waiting. Kirishima's stomach twisted as he walked towards the blonde kid from class. The red dog, his red, was still sitting at the guy's side, tail thumping, slowly against the ground like it was waiting for him. He cleared his throat. Hey. Bakugo turned, eyes narrowing. What? Kirishima scratched the back of his neck. So, this is gonna sound weird, but your dog, it's, really red. Bakugo raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. No shit. No, I mean, it's the exact color of my hair, Kirishima said, half laughing, half nervous. That's not a normal retriever color, you know? Bakugo's eyes snapped to the dog, then back to Kirishima, sharper this time. He didn't respond right away. His brows drew together just slightly. You can see it? Kirishima blinked. Yeah? I've been able to see it since I got here. That got a reaction. Bakugo straightened a little, arms crossing defensively. No one's ever mentioned it before. Kirishima hesitated, then gestured to the lizard perched on his shoulder. Pretty sure this guy's yours. Bakugo looked from the lizard, back to Kirishima, jaw tight. The dog sat quietly at his side, tail still wagging like it had been waiting for this moment. Neither of them said anything for a beat. Kirishima swallowed. So, I guess this means we're... Don't say it, Bakugo growled, already turning away. Kirishima tried not to laugh. Right. Got it. All right, friends, thank you so much for listening to part 1 of this new fic. I don't know if it came as a surprise or not surprise since it's in the thumbnail, but I know everyone describes Katsuki as a angry Pomeranian or Chihuahua or whatever, so I didn't want to stick with that stereotype. I wanted to choose something different, and so that's how the lizard came to be. And then, Kirishima being, I was going to choose just a regular red retriever, and then just decided I was going to go all out and make it Clifford. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys liked that, and I hope you guys will come back for the next piece. See you next time.